and you're taking the absolute piss out of this great sport.
Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host of the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard of Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard of Streams. I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. You know, I love that Liv does this because, like, I have always done this as like a sarcastic thing, kind of when I'm being like a bitch, I'll just be like, you know, or like whatever. Yeah. So I love that she does that.
She's getting dragged right now.
Why?
Well, not dragged, but she's getting reported on by TMZ.
For what?
For flipping the bird at that poor simp fan.
Oh, I didn't see that.
TMZ in their tweet said simp fan, which
okay. Well, maybe he deserved it.
I think he did. Do that.
Well, she was getting dragged for that picture she posted with Dom, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys are so sensitive. Like, Liv, he's married. Yeah, she doesn't know. She has no idea. He's wearing the wedding ring in the photo, but she still has no idea. It's like,
oh, the wrestling peeps. Some of them just are missing the boat.
They're such beautiful souls, you know.
You know what? They're beautiful lost souls, and that's why they have us to help guide them. Because they need us, Sarah. You need no nights off to help guide you in the right direction.
Maybe.
What's popping? How are we doing? Like, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think the first time I sat down, I know. The first time I sat down to end or whatever you call it, relax for my day, was when I sat down here with you.
Oh my
before
god!
We hopped in here.
Wow.
I did take a little bit of a nap between 2:30 and 2:45 and 4 because I had some time to kill before my personal training session. But yeah, this is like the first time I've been able to just decompress and just be me. Don't have to put on any sort of hat. Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of do, but it's a wrestling hat. And what's it say on that hat, Sarah?
WrestleMania.
Damn right. We're in Mania season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. WrestleMania season is upon us. We do have, I would say, the Thanksgiving of WrestleMania season. I think it's a great way to describe the Elimination Chamber, is the Thanksgiving, because it's that pay-per-view right before the big day. And it essentially sets up WrestleMania, just like Thanksgiving sets up the Christmas season as well. It's setting up for Mania, and it's shaping up to be a good show. I'm pretty excited. I would say 6.5 out of 7 at the moment for the Elimination Chamber. There's a lot of talk around it. We had some shit go on last night that needs to be talked about. Sarah, we need to just talk about it. Let's talk to the peeps first, though. We have Alexander Graham Bell.
Hello.
Oh, man. What's up, Alexander Graham Bell? Creating electricity in the chat. Great, Sophia. That's so nice. And you do have a question. Did you play any Nintendo games like Mario, Pokemon, or Zelda growing up?
Yes. Lots of Mario. I played a little bit of Pokemon games, but not really because I never really got any of the games, but I collected Pokemon cards, so I still have all of them. And I started collecting more during the pandemic because of Sword and Shield. Pokemon Sword and Shield came out. So I was collecting cards from that, and I played Pokemon Sword and Shield, beat the game. And then I did play Pokemon Scarlet, which came out like last year or whatever. I beat that as well. So, but never Zelda. I'm just like, I'm not like a gamer. So I usually like to watch people play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the
I like
gamer.
I
I'm playing and you're watching.
I like to watch, but it depends. Like sometimes I'll want to play, but it depends on the game. And then sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, I want to play, but I'll play like one thing, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. You know, like
yeah, I got my fix.
I used to be more of like a gamer, I guess you could say, when I was
Mhm.
younger, but that was with like the Nintendo 64, and I just wanted to play Donkey Kong all day long, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, you
You
play a
know?
shit ton of Animal Crossing.
Yeah. So
I still play Mario to this day on my Switch. I have a date tonight with Mario Kart. My boys and I play Mario Kart almost every night. And we'll be getting the new Switch to play the new Mario Kart, which looks sick. The new Mario Kart does look sick. They're adding a gas station. I found that so interesting, but I
very
do.
cool.
Nathaniel asks if you would rather sing and eat with Jey Uso or wear Lakers jersey gear for the entire 2025.
I could wear a Kobe jersey. That's cool. Yeah, I'll wear a Kobe jersey.
No, this is me. Me and my boy main event Jey Uso will be eating.
No, I'm good.
But he also was asking about the fourth pick. Who should they take? Nathaniel, you better check out the Musket Fire shit too. Oh, yeah.
I think it depends. See, the thing is like, I know people don't like Patriots talk, and I'm sorry, but I'm getting asked. I think it depends on how they go about free agency. So we already know that T. Higgins is basically off the table until the Bengals somehow probably maybe do not reach an extension with him. Then he can be traded. But by then, probably the Patriots will have already dealt with the receiver situation. So it depends on what they do with receiver, I think, in free agency, and that will determine if Travis Hunter is still available at 4. I feel like you kind of have to take him. If he's not, but Ted McMillan is, maybe you trade down with another team so you can get him. It just depends, because I mean, if Abdul Carter is still there at 4, I don't know how you pass on that. But
no, you can't pass.
It just depends on how free agency goes. That's really what it is.
Now with no T. Higgins, that really sucks.
Yes.
The most ridiculous thing ever. They franchise tagged him.
I know. They're paying him half of their allotted cap right now. More than half. They only have like 42 million available or something. They're paying him 26 million at a franchise tag.
That's so gross.
It's just stupid, because then they're going to have, they still have to pay Jamar Chase. They still have to pay Trey Hendrickson. Then they are on the books for like 40 to 50 million for Joe Burrow. Then Burrow wants them to keep Gesicki. It's like you're going to have to cut a ton of veterans so that you can even clear enough space to get all of these guys under contract. But go off, Queen. Like, do your thing, bro.
That's why the Bengals will remain the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bungles.
Yeah.
The Bungles. Bernard, what's up to you? Final boss, what's up? Gunther did speak facts.
That's right.
This needs to be said. This needs to be put out.
Yeah, they've been attacking me recently.
I know.
Including someone on a burner account last night saying that I needed to be booted from the show.
my burner account, Sara?
Pat's burner account. Pat went on his burner last night and said that I need to be kicked off the show.
Yeah. So, like crazy. Shit got wild. What's up, Dylan? Dylan's been here a lot. I'm liking.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan.
We like to see your name around. And you're here around, so I'm just gonna give Nathaniel another shout out. We need a Sara vs. Pitts Mario Kart stream one day. I'm like
not very good at Mario Kart though.
I am filthy.
I'm not.
I
don't play Also, don't forget Unhinged main event.
I'm there.
Oh, okay.
I'm
there. Up?
I'm all around. What up? David is here. What up?
What up?
More. All right. Here we go. Comments.
Alrighty.
Sara, I think you need to take us away.
Okay.
into rewinding what happened on Raw, baby. Let's go.
Okay,
What
so
happened?
we were
Yeah.
fortunate that Jey Uso did not kick off Raw again. That was like a huge plus for some of us. Okay.
For some.
And instead we got Sami Zayn coming out for the first time in 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it was since he was pile driven into the ring mat, I guess, by Kevin Owens. Yeah, so the main gist of this is he wanted a match with Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber. Adam Pearce was like, no, bro, you're not even cleared. You can't do this. Sammy's like, I don't care. I still want this match. You need to let me get my hands on him because this is different. He tried to end my career. This isn't just like, oh, two friends having a fight and we punch each other and get over it. He was trying to take me out. They go back and forth, and after a while, they get to the point where, yeah, Sammy versus Kevin Owens is going to happen at the Elimination Chamber in a non-sanctioned match, aka anything goes. You can literally do anything to each other.
Oh, yeah, there's no rules.
And the refs can't stop it. So I kind of have mixed feelings about this, honestly, because I think we kind of spoke about it last week when this was floated as what was probably going to happen at Elimination Chamber, mostly because it's in Canada. Even though, again, it's their home country. It's not even their hometown. We don't do that anywhere else, but okay.
But Canada, different country, they're foreigners.
I guess. So we weren't too keen on that being something that happened at Elimination Chamber because we were saying like this would be really cool if it could happen at Mania. It looks like that's not going to happen. Especially because I think most people believe Randy Orton is going to get involved in some way.
I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah. Because it's unlikely that Randy will miss WrestleMania because he's not actually injured. So that's cool and everything. But I'm I don't know how to describe it. It's not like I'm disappointed in it being a non-sanctioned match. I just feel like it's gotten like that's such an elevation from what has happened. It feels like these types of matches I feel are usually reserved for like big time rivalries, fights. Like we've done everything. Now we need to go and have absolutely no rules because we've already done so much damage to each other. But like we need it. We need something that's not going to prevent us from, going all out. And so that's why it's like, I think this is going to be a good match, but I just don't know if we've seen enough for it to already be this far. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that it could have been any type of match. Like there could have been a stipulation. I'm not arguing that. But like taking it to the degree of being like, there are no rules. It's like, have really a pile driver. That's all it took for you to be like, I need to do whatever I want. Like, I don't know. It just seems.
You see, that's to me that set. It's not just about the pile driver that sent him over the edge. It's the storytelling that there's more to it than just a pile driver. And he actually was on his team and on his side and he crossed the line. And it's another chapter of Kevin Owens crossing the line with Sami Zayn. It's just, I don't hate it. You know what I mean? It sounds like I'm complaining or whatnot, but I don't care because.
But do you understand where I'm coming from, though? That it just feels like an escalation that, like, we haven't seen enough for it to get. You know what I mean? Like, if it made sense with, like, Cody and Roman getting to a tribal combat, on night 1 last year. It was like, well, yeah, because the bloodline keeps getting involved and screwing Cody and there's always other shenanigans going around. So yeah, okay, it makes sense that it's like, okay, now both sides can do whatever they want, like, okay, that makes sense. But like, but there was a lot of things that happened that led up to it making sense. And this, I feel like, is relying heavily on, we fought so many times in the past. Like, that's why this makes sense. I think it's just like, it just goes kind of into the complaint that a lot of people are having about this Mania buildup so far, that the storytelling just isn't that great right now. And so this just feels like we jumped from chapter 2 to chapter 10, but we didn't get anything in between to make chapter 10 make sense. You know, like we skipped all the details that got there. Like I'm not sure if I'm like voicing this or like the
No,
way
I
that
get what
I
you
mean
mean.
it, but
I get what you mean because it seems like this should be for a bigger stage.
yeah.
It's got to the point where it's Kevin Owens, Sammy. They've main evented WrestleMania together. Why
Mhm.
can't they main event WrestleMania facing each
Yeah.
other?
Yeah.
So I could see that point. And I'm still on the side. I mean, I contrary to what you believe, Sarah, but I do get hate with what I post sometimes. Someone calls me out for my take about this being at Elimination Chamber and how I was wrong. And yeah,
Mm.
I'm wrong. And that's fine because of where these two are branching off for WrestleMania. It seems that this doesn't need to continue at WrestleMania.
This isn't the end game for them. I think that's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, Randy versus Kevin is the end game. So that's why it's like this is just kind of like a blip in their story right now to get them to Mania. So that's the way that Randy is going to get involved.
See, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I mean, we're gonna have a whole topic about it, but Karrion Kross being in Sami Zayn's head and that whole saga, like that seems like that's a possibility for a match too. And to
Yeah,
be
no.
honest, I would much rather see Karrion Kross versus Sammy right now over KO and Sammy.
We're going to talk about this because I hate that that's a Mania thing right now. Um,
Really?
I hate that. Yeah, we're
Okay.
going to talk about it.
Okay.
So Richard says Mania triple threat seems like the plan. I don't hate it, but I said that I wanted it to be, I don't know, did I say this on camera? I don't remember. I would love for this to be a handicap match because we never ever see
We did.
handicap matches anymore at all. I would love for it to be Sammy and Randy versus Kevin. Just because it's so different. And I also would love for it to see Sammy turn on Randy. Because I want to see heel Sami Zayn. I want to see full
You've been
blown heel
saying
Sami
this.
Zayn. I know. I love Sammy and I get it. Like he's such a relatable, nice guy. Like you want to root for him. The same, they kind of compare him to like somewhat of like a modern day Mick Foley kind of. Like I get it. But I don't know. There's just like I want to see something different. But Nathaniel's excited. And I think it's going to be a fire match. Like I'm not excited. I just kind of wish that it was happening at Mania.
It's gonna be very good. They're gonna tear the house down.
Oh, yeah,
They're gonna tear the house down.
1000%. Richard agreed that Randy is definitely going to be involved. Dylan agrees it should have been at Mania, but we'll see. Dylan is shocked that you get hate.
I know.
Are you shocked, Dylan, that I get hate, or is it only surprising with that?
I'm sorry.
I feel like most people aren't surprised that I get hate, which is kind of sad because I don't feel like I'm really saying anything. That could be the main event. However, I think it depends on who the Elimination Chamber winner for the men is. That's what I think. I think because that is the setup for who is going to face Cody Rhodes at Mania. And the fact that it could be John Cena or CM Punk, which I believe those are the two front runners, that to me feels like a bigger deal than this. However, I honestly I don't know. And Unhinged main event for all agrees it's Randy. Randy's coming back for sure. Final Boss says I only get haters from Bloodline stands. Yeah, and it's for all the Bloodline. The most recent thing is I can't say anything about Jey Uso. That's the latest thing. Which is unfortunate. I can't say anything unless it's yeet. Whatever. Dylan, you were so right. He says that I only get hate because I make too much sense. You know what? I know. Anyway. So I appreciate you, Dylan. Then we had AJ Styles back in action for the first time since he came back from his injury.
This was
And
awesome.
he was against Daddy Dom, which I really need to get a t-shirt for Daddy Dom before I can't get it anymore, because there's a specific one that I want, and I want to make sure I can get it before it's gone. But this match was good. Of course it was. AJ Styles wins because of course he would. But it was the ending that was what caught our attention. Braun Breaker has kind of been teased in connection with several people, Ludwig Kaiser, Penta, AJ Styles, in recent weeks, and it looks like they might be going in that direction with AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship, because he came out at the end, tried to hit AJ with a spear, but he hit Daddy Dom. And then he just was very angry. So I guess I'm curious how people feel about AJ Styles being moved from SmackDown to Raw, and the first storyline, I guess, that he's getting involved in being for the Intercontinental Championship. Do we love that? Do we hate it? Like, what are your thoughts?
No, I love that. No, I love that AJ Styles is in the Intercontinental picture, because it gives Braun Breaker a legitimate opponent to go up against. It gives him someone to legitimize his reign. And when you have a guy like AJ Styles, who isn't just a high flower, high flower, great, high flower, fly, Jesus,
Flyer,
high flyer. He's not just a high flyer. He is incredible in all facets in the ring. It'll be very exciting to see how that pairs with Braun Breaker and the type of shit that they can do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm intrigued by it. Like I love AJ Styles, so I don't really care what he's doing. I'm glad that he's getting put into something that actually has a purpose, I guess, because I feel we've talked about it with some other people like LA Knight and whatever others that feel like they're competing for nothing on a weekly basis, and so that's why they're just like floundering or doing nothing, because there's no title for them to go for. So if AJ's going to move to Raw, if it makes sense, I think to most people, that he's going to be in some sort of title picture, and Braun Breaker needs to have a feud and to be getting into storylines, because basically since he won the title back from Jey Uso, he's done nothing. So the fact that they're going to have AJ Styles feuding with him, I'm into it. I don't know that I want AJ to win the Intercontinental title, at least not right away. I think Braun deserves a better title run.
No, he needs to beat AJ Styles at
Yeah.
least once. At least get one pin over him.
Yeah, because I think it can't be at first, because they've done nothing for Braun after what looked like was going to be a really good title run on the first, before he lost it to Jay, and they haven't done anything even more so since then. So but it'll be interesting, because like I said, they teased a lot of people to be interested in the Intercontinental Championships. Interesting to see how they go about that. Like, does AJ get one shot at it and move on to the next guy, or what is it? Are we going to be building up the Intercontinental title again as like a desirable championship? I want to see that.
I want to see that.
Okay, let me see here. Yeah. Oh God. Can you still see me?
You're pixelated. Oh. Up there she goes. There she goes again. Railing through my brain. And I just can't complain. You're right, Dickie. AJ does fit on Raw. I agree, because there's more stars. And with a guy like AJ Styles, you need to have him on Raw. You need to have your bigger name stars on the Netflix brand. So I'm for it. Let's get rid of that one. Let's put you in there. Yay!
Sorry.
You beg.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, moving on. Oh, were you doing comments? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was
Oh.
stalling.
Oh, okay.
I was just stalling. I was singing. I don't know if you heard it.
I did not.
Mhm.
Oh, it disconnected from Twitter. That's weird. Or it's not showing up for me. Anyway, whatever. So moving on to the women, we got to see Dakota Kai take on Ivy Nile, and whoever won became the number one contender for the women's IC title, which also has not been getting good airtime or energy whatsoever since Lyra won the championship. But Dakota won and is now the number one contender, basically again, I would say, because she was right up there in the tournament for the IC title. So I do like that they're doing this with Dakota, but I'm confused a little bit because Dakota's supposed to be a good, little baby face, and so is Lyra. So putting them against each other, it's like, what are we doing? I don't love it for that reason, because I feel like Lyra doesn't deserve to lose the title right now, but they also can't keep having Dakota lose, so it's kind of like a weird situation.
Yeah, it is a weird situation because I would like to see Dakota win and be champion. In my eyes, she does deserve that. But I have a vision for WrestleMania that involves Lyra as champion going up against Becky Lynch. I do not think that Becky needs to be in the world title picture this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There are other stars that needed a little bit more and deserve it. With Becky's eminent future in WWE, it seems that it's going to be more of what she was doing in NXT than going after gold herself. I mean, she's very busy with her time away from WWE. Seth has said that on multiple occasions. And to be honest, I think you just have, if you put Becky against Lyra one-on-one at WrestleMania for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, it legitimizes the title and gives it way more meaning than it currently has right now.
And I think that, I mean, I think it makes sense because a lot of people have wanted to see Becky versus Lyra again. So if like that happens, then I can't imagine people would be upset. And it's not her going after the women's title, which people have a bigger issue with because they think that Becky is Charlotte, which is not true.
The complete opposite.
So I think that would be good. I just want to see more from the women's division with the mid-card titles in general, because again, it's like this was the concern when the idea of them being introduced was brought up and was like, okay, no, it's happening. We were like, okay, well, they need to be treated better than the women's tag titles, and so far they're really not. So hopefully if they can get somebody involved like Becky, maybe that will somehow change how they go about booking the division. I have no idea, but if that's what it takes, then I'm all for it.
I don't need to see Becky as IC champion right now, Dickie.
Well,
I really don't.
but I think what he's saying, well, okay, the way I would interpret what Richard is saying is similar to what we said about the women's tag titles. Like, we weren't 100% on board with it being Bianca and Jade simply because they didn't need the women's tag titles. It's like Bianca Belair, multi-time women's champion, and Jade, who's being booked like a superstar, so it's like neither one of them needed it, but they made the women's tag titles like desirable again. They brought a lot of attention to the division simply because they were on TV every single week with the tag team titles, and so it kind of elevated them in that way. So I feel like that's kind of what you could argue would be the reason to give it to Becky. And I think Becky can't win it like right away. It's the same thing. It's like you can be in competition for it, but go back and forth for the title for a bit before just putting it on her, because otherwise that does a lot of damage to Lyra, I feel like. Which is not what you want to do, and I'm sure Becky doesn't want to do that either.
No, yeah, that's the last thing Becky would want to do.
Yeah.
choose to have this match with Lyra. So.
Yeah, especially because it's Lyra, I'm so confused about what is going on here. Okay, moving on to the best part of the evening in my eyes, which was Gunther. And I'm sorry, you can be the biggest Gunther hater in the world. You cannot tell me that you did not think it was absolutely hilarious that he was lined up in the yeet section, came down and was like mocking everything that Jay does. That was brilliant.
Oh, it was, yeah. I'll let you can go off about it, but it was more like the fact that Gunther did the complete like goes out, is with the crowd, doing the yeet, trying to get it. It's a mind game with him. And I mean, I just have to bring up a quote, Sarah, that he said to the peeps yesterday.
I love that he mentioned how it smelled also.
Yeah, like that's just brilliant heel work. Brilliant. He said performing for you is like reading Shakespeare to a dog.
Mm-hmm.
That is just so ruthless.
I was like, but hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. Don't forget about me.
It is. No,
don't
but
forget
it is.
about me.
I'm a dog.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes it's gonna go over my head.
Yeah.
All right. But I appreciate it. I don't understand half the shit that Shakespeare says, but I appreciate it for being good.
And I like, so this, okay. So as happy as I am about this, and I felt like he absolutely killed it, because something that I think that people don't understand is that Gunther has a lot of personality and he's very charismatic when you let him be. But because he's so old school and he's such an old school heel, which is another thing that people don't get, and it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but that doesn't equate to him sucking, But when he actually is able to like show some personality, he hits it out of the park every time. Look at this. It was like such a simple thing. Like he didn't do anything super unique. It's not something that hasn't been done before, but the things that he says is just funny. It's just good, great timing. Standing on the announcer's table, going, face to face with McAfee and like demanding that they, reveal their true feelings, that Jay doesn't have a chance. All of it was great. My issue is, of course, I have to have an issue, but that's just me being nitpicky. The reason that I don't love it is just because I feel like we're finally getting some of what I've wanted to see out of Gunther during his world heavyweight title reign, and they just haven't done it. But the only reason why they're doing it now is because they're trying to like make everybody care about this Jey Uso storyline. And so I just hate that, because I feel we should have been seeing a lot of this from Gunther from the beginning. It shouldn't have had to wait 6 months, after he won the title. And now he's going after perhaps the most charismatic guy on the roster, the most over guy on Raw. And it's like, well, we need to do something for Gunther to kind of like be level with him on that, in that way. And so, yeah, let's give him a mic. Let's let him be funny. Let's let him go do this. And it's like, but why now? That's the thing that I'm frustrated about, because now it's like we're going to get the 8 weeks or whatever of like Gunther just absolutely killing it every single week. And it's going to be like, yeah, okay, we could have been seeing this for the past 6 months, but you're deciding to do it now only because of this, Like, again, I know that's being nitpicky, but like, we've talked about how his title reign has been underwhelming as far as like storylines and feuds or whatever. Matches, we don't care, because matches are good every single time. So it's just the other stuff that I'm like, guys, you should have been doing this a long time ago. We shouldn't have had to wait until Mania. But
what did you think of him mocking or going at McAfee?
I liked it. I like when they're doing that too, because McAfee and Cole do not hide their fandoms when it comes to certain wrestlers. And they have been very active in yeeting on a weekly basis. So if Gunther didn't address it, I would be like more upset about that. Because I feel like you have to. Like, these guys are actively cheering for your opponent every single week. And they will every time you face him. And will face him again in the future. But I will say too, Because we kind of talked about. Sorry, I have hiccups. My God. Okay. What was I gonna say?
Yeah,
Darn
love.
it.
I got you.
Okay.
I love the fact too that when Gunther got in McAfee's face
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying, "Do you
Mhm.
actually believe that Jey Uso can win at WrestleMania?" And then when Pat does actually stand his ground, Gunther throws the jacket at him,
Yeah.
and
Well.
for intimidation. Like it's little things like that that make Gunther who he is
Mhm.
and make him that much more intimidating than he already is. Getting in an announcer's face. Obviously, McAfee is known for getting in the ring once or twice.
Yeah.
So it isn't like going after a Michael Cole or throwing it old school, going at good old JR.
Mhm.
But it's that line that you're crossing to know, okay, like you're trying to get massive heat. Like Gunther is got massive heat. If he's already going after the most beloved Uso, main event
Mhm.
Jey Uso, and now you're gonna go there with Pat McAfee.
Well, and I think
So
they're gonna
like,
try to do that, especially going in, because they know how people really care and root for Jay, but they want to match that energy, I would assume, on the other side. Like if they're gonna want this to be like a big feel match, they're gonna need to make Gunther do like as much as possible to get people to boo the crap out of him in Vegas. They can't just kind of be like boo. Like, no, it needs to be loud. If you're gonna make this like a grand event, and that Jey Uso wins or whatever. Like they need to do that. But I did this, so I remember now. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about them basically recycling last year's storyline with Sami Zayn and Gunther this year with Jey Uso and Gunther? Because like I
I
I
don't
I
see it
just
that way.
I feel like it is because I mean, okay, it's not exactly the same. We get it
No.
because whatever, but obviously, I would say the stakes are higher because the championship is bigger, right? Like the Intercontinental Championship is great, but this isn't the Intercontinental Championship. This is the World Heavyweight Championship. But it does feel just kind of like lazy in a way, especially when it's like they both had lost to him multiple times before they had their Mania match. So now we're just going with this like underdog story. And to me, it just like kind of feels forced. Like, or I don't know. To me, it's just like bored. I'm bored. Like I wish that
It's
there was
not, yeah.
something else that could be like the underlying reason to believe in Jey Uso, other than it being like the tale as old as time. Like, oh yeah, he's the underdog. Well, why is he the underdog?
Because
Because he's not the champion. Like, he's
he's the
got.
forgotten. He was the tag team. He was only could be a tag team star. And people say he was the weaker out of the two in the tag team,
I don't
which I
remember
don't
anybody
I don't
saying that.
remember that. I don't remember anyone saying it.
That's a lie that they're trying to rewrite history.
But the
It's
point
always
is
been
that they're
Jay
pushing
was
that.
better on the mic. That's what people thought.
No, they said better in general. Like had
Oh, but see,
this like they said that Jimmy was the one
you know
who
why?
would break out. Like
You know
that's the
why?
whole thing. Why?
He was on Total Divas, so people liked him.
Oh yeah,
They
no one
so
knows who Jay is because he
mhm,
wasn't
mhm.
okay. That
But
makes
Jimmy
sense.
was on Total Divas, so people fell in love with him because they saw exactly like how funny he is and his real personality and how supportive of Naomi he is. I feel like that's
Very
the only reason why anyone would have been more keen on Jimmy, because otherwise you don't really know anything that much about them other than like, oh, they're both married and they have kids. Like, okay,
Did you see the picture of Naomi and Jimmy jumping in the picture of them in the air? Jimmy's face looks hilarious.
Hmm.
Like
I have not seen it.
he is comedy in himself. Like Jimmy
Yeah,
Uso should just be a single star from now on because he's that good alone. Like he can just
yeah.
go out
No,
and just
he's
talk that in.
hilarious. Um, See, I don't know. Richard says, I think without Imperium around him, Gunther had to be made weaker so the baby faces looked credible against him. Gunther lost his punching bags.
That's everyone.
But like Jey Uso is not an equal. I'm sorry. It's not. He's not an equal. I'm sorry. He also says Jay is still an underdog. Who is he beat as a singles guy that is strong other than Drew via roll up? See, like, I don't know. To me, I feel like, I don't know. You're never going to get me on board with Jey Uso taking the title off Gunther at Mania. I'm never going to be okay with it, and I'm never going to support it, because I also think that the time to have made him champion, where people would have been like the most happy with him being a champion, it would have been against Roman. I think that was the missed opportunity. If you wanted to make him a singles champion and you wanted to make him like a credible main event star, he should have beaten Roman. I don't think it's not going to have the same effect on people with him beating Gunther. It's just not. They're going to be trying to make it be like, oh, they have a lot of history. Yeah, for the past 2 months that you forced down our throat since you won the Rumble. After that, before that, not really. Like,
kind of not enough to
not in the way that he had a ton of history with Roman. Like, I think that would have been a lot more satisfying for like a lot of people if they've been paying attention for a long time. But
I thought we were going to get him.
But this is the other issue that I have. Is he winning the belt? Probably, which I fucking hate. I also don't think it needs to happen. But his title reign can't be short. It can't be long, and it can't be too short. It can't be too long because he's not a credible world heavyweight champion. I'm sorry, but he's not. But it can't be too short because then you took it off of Gunther for what? You put it on him for a short period of time to prove that he's a main event guy, but he had it for a month or 6 weeks. That's not going to work either.
It seems like Rikishi's really in their ear. Is what
it's. And it's nothing against, like, it's okay. So it's like, it's nothing against Jay for me. It's just like, I think it's the timing of it. And it's who he's going to be taking the title off of that I have a problem with. Like, if Gunther had like a way better reign than he's had, then I would be like, whatever. But you're telling me that he deserves to be 1 and 2 at WrestleMania and he's going to lose titles back-to-back WrestleManias, and it's going to be Sami Zayn, who only had it for like a month and a half, and then Jey Uso, who might have it also for like 2 months. That's embarrassing and so stupid, because you have all this time to plan these things out, and then you have that time to decide, okay, what are they going to do once they become champion? And then you have nothing for them. You give them a championship for a month or 2, and then it goes on to the next thing. Like, the way that these matches go, like, I get it. It's Jay winning the World Heavyweight Championship is benefiting him, but to take it off of Gunther, then have him have it for a short period of time, that's damaging Gunther. And people say he can't get hurt. Yes, he can. Because you got but so many people are already complaining that his title run has been terrible, that he's so boring. Why is he even over? Why is he a champion? And I honestly don't have much belief that when they take this world heavyweight title off of him, that they'll ever make him world heavyweight champion again.
I disagree with that.
I don't think it's not happening. If they're going to take it off of him to give it a Jey Uso run for 2 months, hell no. I think he's going to probably become the next Finn Balor. That's what it's going to be.
No. Mm-hmm. I see them taking that off him and then him going up against whoever the top babyface champion is at the time when he comes back, or he goes up against Cody. I for me, it seems like but Cody specifically wants to face like the best of the best, and Gunther is the best of the best.
Yeah, he would have to move to SmackDown though.
I could see it happening. There's a draft coming up soon.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. People don't agree with me. I don't know. I'm very passionate because I like Gunther. So I'm just, I think it's, and a lot of it is just that I'm frustrated with his title run. And then knowing that it's probably coming to an end at Mania just makes me more frustrated. And then it's more frustrating to me that it's somebody like Jey Uso. You know what I mean? Like, if it were somebody else, I guess, like, I would still be mad. But if it was like Seth Rollins, like, what can I get mad about with Seth Rollins? It's like you're only putting the title on Jey Uso because you want him to be like perceived differently. But like, to me, that's not enough. Like, I don't know. It's the same thing of like, oh, they gave him the Intercontinental title so that we can say that he was a singles champion. Okay, he had it for like 5 weeks, what or 4 weeks. What are we doing? How much did that really benefit him? I don't know.
Would you
Anyway.
do?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask this before because this is the
Mhm.
one comment I've seen that I
Mhm.
want to bring up. Would you do LA Knight for Gunther?
I mean, I've wanted LA Knight on Raw. I think I would, yeah,
I think it's a move that benefits both shows.
yeah,
It absolutely
in
benefits
both
shows.
guys. I would care more about how it benefits them.
Yeah, but
I
it
think that
benefits
they
them
would
both.
need a little bit more rearranging though. I feel like we need some more like, I don't know, because see the thing is like I would consider Gunther a main eventer, but it's like who would he go against on SmackDown other than Cody?
They don't have any main eventers on SmackDown right now.
That's the
Cody.
problem. Is like how is that
So-
solving a problem by moving Gunther over there if he has no one to face?
Because then he's the main eventer and he's the guy that you elevate the potential main eventers up to face him, and then they become.
Well, I
main
just mean like
eventers.
he should have more immediate talent to work with like right away is what I mean. Like it can't be just like, oh, put him on SmackDown and LA Knight on Raw and then see what happens. Like no, LA Knight would be immediately inserted into the Intercontinental title and World Heavyweight title picture. But Gunther needs more than just Cody to deal with on SmackDown.
Deal with Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. Penta took on Pete Dunne again, and Penta's cool. He has a really great entrance, and the crowd loves him, and he's still undefeated. And Ludwig Kaiser got involved, so he's in that mix again.
The only thing I have to add to this is how long do you see Penta being undefeated for?
A long time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I say keep him undefeated for a while. I think that he's still an attraction right now. You know? So I feel like you kind of need to ride that wave for a while. Like, not that it's going to necessarily die out, but I think that he got over with the crowd so quickly that they need to just keep going with that. So giving him wins, but not necessarily. The thing is, I think the difference is with him continuing to win is they're not squash matches. You know, it's not like the typical we're introducing you to this new guy. We want him to be dominant and undefeated. So he's going to come out and squash all of these smaller.
Yeah, he's facing Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah. Or even like, a guy that's been in catering for the past 8 months. Like he's not going against those guys. He's going against people that are on TV every week or, that he's putting on really great matches with. And they're all lengthy. They're not 5 minutes.
Time.
Yeah, they're never like 5 minutes. They're always 10 to 15. So like to me that I think is a little bit more digestible for him to be undefeated for a while because like you can't complain about how he got there. You know what I mean?
I would like to see him lose after he wins a title. Like someone beats him for the championship.
Yeah, like that's his first that
loss. Would be his first loss. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I don't see anyone deserving a pin.
Not even like a roll up. Yeah, not even like a roll up or like, oh my god, how did he do
like
that?
Dom, okay, here's the thing with the roll up. The only person that I say could get away with a roll up is Dom.
Yeah, and that's just because you're like, whatever, it's Dominic.
Because it's Dom. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna get it anyway. So, but like, I mean, just for an easy example, I know they're on different shows, but bear with me. Carmelo Hayes getting a roll up over Penta, that does nothing for nobody.
Yeah,
that doesn't help anybody. But Dirty Dom getting a roll up over Penta gets even more nuclear heat to Dom that he already has.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes sense because it's Dom. Mm-hmm. He's gonna do that shit anyways, and he's been in the ring with a bunch of the top guys anyways.
Yeah,
there's another top guy that he snuck a win against.
Mm-hmm.
Where anyone else, I don't see it because it feels that they need to put a strap on Penta
Yeah.
within the year to really elevate not only him but the entire division, or his division as a whole.
And I'm curious to see how far they will go with him as a singular act, because you assume that Ray Phoenix is going to join him at some point.
I've been told that speaking of Ray Phoenix, he is in talks with Tony to get out of his contract. At least that's a rumor I heard. Could not be
Mhm.
true. Hopefully,
Yeah.
SRS can join the chat and confirm or deny. That would be
So
very nice.
because we know that that's going to happen at some point, I don't know. I think it's going to be really fun to see like how
Yeah.
big they go with Penta, because I like the idea of them not pigeonholing him as like as a tag team guy, because I feel like when that happens with certain people, it's hard for them to break out of that or to be like considered a credible singles person, as we've seen with Jey Uso, or what people are saying with like the Street Profits. People want to see Montez Ford as like the singles act, but they like keep not doing it. So I like that they just are like, yeah, we're going all in with Penta. He's the singles guy. And then obviously when his brother eventually comes, because you assume he's going to, then they can kind of explore maybe not even right away either. Maybe they want to see what Ray can do on his own, and then they can kind of have them come together, so it can be almost like the opposite of what the Hardys did, where the Hardys came in as a duo and then split up.
And
Just do
then
the
split.
opposite with these guys, because in that way they're not pigeonholed, as I said, into being a tag team. They're their own entities, but they're the best when they come together, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm with you.
Let's see. Yes, Final Boss says Chelsea Green versus Penta. That was phenomenal.
That would be awesome. That would be
Richard thinks that Penta probably faces Braun in a multi-man match at Mania. It's possible. It feels like the IC title is going to be a multi-man match at Mania.
Yeah, like he loses that match, but he didn't get pinned. Like it's a ladder match or something, or
so
like
it's like
someone else get pinned in the match. So like,
yeah, and then maybe whoever wins that, he goes after them or something.
Yeah,
we'll see. Anyway, moving on to the women's elimination chamber. We had the final qualifying match between Roxanne Perez, who was officially on Raw, against Raquel Rodriguez. And depending on who you ask, this was a shocking development that Roxanne Perez won, and she took the final spot in the women's elimination chamber, which I'm here for it, because this girl was like the face of NXT for the majority of the time that she was in NXT. And if they want to treat her like she is a top girl, then this is the way to do it. But also, I like that none of the women in the elimination chamber are, a Nia Jax, where it's like, oh, she's going to dominate because she's the biggest one in there. They have Roxanne in there, who's tiny. They have Alexa Bliss, who's in there, that's tiny. They have Liv Morgan, who's in there, that's tiny. So it's like, the biggest girls in there are Naomi and Bianca, simply because they're jacked, So I feel like this is a pretty evenly matched elimination chamber. So that feels to me like it makes the most sense for Roxanne to be in it. And then of course we assume Liv and Raquel are going to go after the tag titles and or win them. So it wouldn't have made sense to have Raquel in the elimination chamber and then having to deal with, eliminating Liv or whatever. But
I had that thought, but after the developments of last night, where Bianca and Naomi came out, interfered, got to Liv, and then cost Raquel the match, obviously. To me, I would have liked to see Raquel in the match to see if it would further along their feud for the tag titles.
They have the title. They're going for the titles next week on Raw.
I saw that.
Yeah. So. Well, see, this is the thing. What I would like is, I feel like they have to drop the tag titles before Mania, because I assume Bianca is probably winning the Elimination Chamber. I mean, to face Rhea. It's the only thing that makes the most or makes any sense. But I would like for Liv to like eliminate Naomi or something in the Elimination Chamber. So that way we don't have to worry about the numbers game. You know what I mean? Where it's like she doesn't have to worry about Bianca and Naomi going after her. So have her eliminate Naomi. And then it's like we don't have to worry about that aspect anymore. I do think Jade is going to get involved in some way, though. Jade has to make her presence known. Because Bianca, girl, you did it. You did your girl dirty. If it's not Bianca, I'm going to be pissed. That took out Jade. I need it to be Bianca.
It has to be. It's the only one I can think of.
No one else. I don't feel like I would care about it being anybody else.
What about Metaphor?
No.
Not do anything that tickle your fancy at all? No.
No, especially because if we're saying we think that Bianca is going to win the Elimination Chamber to face Rhea, we can't have her involved in another story, you know, because she would be with Jade because it messed up the women's tag titles. So I don't know. I think that Raquel and Liv need to win the tag titles from them. And then that allows Bianca to focus on, you know, the Elimination Chamber or Mania, whatever. I don't know. It depends because like she's the only one that makes sense to face Rhea, but then it's like, but then what are they going to do with Jade? It feels like they're not going to have Jade off of Mania, but like, how do you get her to face Bianca at Mania? I don't know. It's a weird thing.
They got a lot of loose ends.
I know. Dylan agrees that it has to be Bianca. It has to. It has to because like I don't think anyone will care about anything else, you know. Yeah, nothing else really seems that interesting. Like I don't know how they could spin it into making it interesting, you know. So we kind of talked about this earlier, but I think we have opposing views on it, and so I wanted to talk about it. So because it looks like Sammy versus Kevin is happening at Elimination Chamber and that it's not going to continue after that, they have to have Sammy on the WrestleMania card. So what is Sammy going to do? I don't know, but it kind of looks like they're trying to make it so that he's against Karrion Kross, and the internet is pissed about
why.
I think it's like, okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
Cough it. Bless you. Why would they be? Okay, continue.
Sorry. Anyway, I think. Okay, so I think that people do. No, I'm not saying a majority of people do, but I think a lot of people have kind of come around to enjoying the work that Karrion Kross is doing. Like he posted that promo on his Twitter the other night, and people were being like, "This should have been on Raw." Like, why? Whatever. So I'm not saying that he has a large fan base or anything, but people are taking notice to what he's doing. However, that doesn't translate to like wanting to see him in a match at WrestleMania. And I think that they definitely don't want to see him against a guy like Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And I think it's because that doesn't feel like a Mania match. You know what I mean? Like when you look at Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn, like that feels like a pre-show match in the old era of WrestleMania where they had like 4 pre-show matches. That doesn't feel like a match that should be taking up a spot on the biggest show of the year. And I feel like even you can't argue that it does.
No, I no, it does. It does not give a WrestleMania match feel. Totally agree. However, this match has been building. This match has been building for a few months now. Karrion Kross is the one who got.
He's the one in the one versus. I'm just kidding.
The one, but he's the one voice in Sami Zayn's head to turn and do what he wouldn't usually do. And Sammy, and Karrion has been doing this with every superstar that he's feuded with since his return. Is they have a match, not even a match, but just like a little program for a few weeks, maybe months. They have their match, they're finished, whatever. And then we see a whole new side of the other guy that he's feuding with. We saw it with the New Day. We saw it with Drew McIntyre. We saw it with Rey Mysterio. so he could even fight Dom. Like that was Ray's turning heel was that he was going to fight his son.
Yeah.
Just like, but there's continuity there, and there's not a lot of consistent continuity with Karrion Kross. You get that each and every week.
You know what?
He deserves to be rewarded in a WrestleMania match.
I think the way that they're going to try to get people to care about this, if this really is what they're trying to do for WrestleMania, is exactly what I said earlier with building this story between Jay and Gunther. They're going to take the weeks between Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania and take that as the opportunity to get you to care. Whether or not it works, I don't know, but it feels like that's when they're really going to hype up this rivalry and like hone in on what the story is, and then hope that people care enough to want to see it at Mania. That's kind of what I feel like. I mean, in a way, if they're not going to do Sammy in a match with Kevin Owens in any capacity, whether it's a multi-man match or just a one-on-one match, there's really nothing else for Sammy to do at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So it's like, if it's not Kevin Owens, then sure, okay, do something with Karrion. Like, I don't love it just because at this point, because I feel like there hasn't been enough that has gone on between them for me to care enough. But it might be like, if he doesn't face Karrion at Mania, he could be off the card. And I would assume most people don't want that. I think they would take a match with Karrion Kross over Sammy not performing at all.
That's where my logic is coming in.
Yeah. So it's like, and I also think that it's kind of times like this where like people decide that they all of a sudden care about a wrestler that they normally don't care about on like a weekly basis. Like, obviously Sammy has fans, but when you start to see people like come together and all of a sudden are like, oh no, this isn't fair for Sammy, it's like, where have you been all other 364 days of the year when you've never said anything about Sami Zayn? Like, you're just caring now because you want to get upset about something. And so that feels like that's kind of what's happening right now, because if you look at it, there's not a whole lot for him to be doing right now if it doesn't involve Kevin Owens. So
there isn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. So if they're going to do something, at least like there is a connection or a small history with Karrion, and it's not them just like throwing, I don't know, some random person at him, and then being like, this is going to be the Mania match and you're going to care about it for the next 4 weeks. Like, that would be more annoying, I would feel like, but I don't know. Speaking of the New Day, they're still getting close to Dom level heat from the audience.
Oh, they're hated.
Yeah.
New Day sucks.
It is so funny because we were so skeptical about how this was going to go over. We weren't sure how it was going to be for one of them to be a heel, never mind both of them. And all it took was for them to do what they did to Big E. Like, that shows you how beloved Big E is.
Oh,
because
my God.
That was a one-time thing that happened how many weeks ago? And like, people are still pissed off about that. That is not something that happens almost ever in professional wrestling, because when it's a singular moment, people forget about it in a week or two. Or they stop caring in a week or two. This happened so long ago, but people are still booing him as if it happened last week. It's insane.
No, it's been going on.
It's crazy. And I mean, credit to them, because like, they have done a really good job in playing it up. Like, you could even tell they were kind of riffing on Raw with some of the things that they were saying. Like, they were trying to get you to hate them more, because they were saying things that they probably didn't have to, or they weren't necessarily like scripted to do so.
They said they were gonna take Rey Mysterio out back and shoot him like old Yeller.
It's like
what?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
And they were loving the booze though, which I love to see that too, when you can tell they're just like feeding off of it, because like these are guys that have really never experienced that in their careers, like each of them. And so the fact that they haven't had to work at it as much as others do is crazy. And then the LWO, of course, they come out and they want to settle their beef with them because they took out their King Rey Mysterio. So it looks like that's the direction that they're going to go in. Hopefully it doesn't lead to being stuck in the LWO vortex like plenty of others before them, but the New Day needs something to do because they can't just keep coming out and being like, ha ha ha, we hate Big E, you guys love him, we beat him up, we hate you. Like, you can't do that every single week. So like,
there needs to be some variety in what you're saying, or else the crowd's going to tune out.
yeah,
And they've made it very easy to follow along and want you to chant New Day sucks because everything they do makes you want to say they suck.
Yeah. I also just want to see, like, I want to see what happens, what the end game is with Big E. Like, I want to see where this all leads to, because you assume something is going to happen with New Day and Big E at some point.
Do you think that he's returning at all?
I think so. The reason, and that's the thing, because I can't say that if they had the New Day turn heel, like let's say both of them were going to turn heel anyway, I don't know that it would be as successful as it is right now if they did it against somebody else. You know, like even if it was Rey Mysterio, even if it was a Jey Uso that they did something to, right? Like, I don't know that we would be still hearing those loud of boos this many weeks later. And so to me, the fact that they specifically involved Big E and had them turn on him, it feels like, okay, there's got to be bigger plans in the future, right? Like,
There has to be. It's not just a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it feels like maybe he is cleared already, or he's nearing clearance, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't really received any updates about him in quite a while, so that I think might be a positive sign. So I don't know. I feel like he's going to get involved in some way, and I would assume it's going to get physical, because like, what is he going to do with words that's going to be effective?
He needs to hit him with something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a punch or if he's well enough to do his signature move, but he needs to do something.
Well, and imagine like the pop that he will get the second that he is able to like lay a hand, and imagine like, I don't know. I feel like that would have to be such a cool moment for all three of them too. You know, like even if they're on opposing sides, like that, I don't know, goosebumps kind of, because it's really not that often that wrestler is presumably done with their career because of injury, and you actually get to stick around and see them come back from it, you know?
I know, there's not many times.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, and Edge, but it took a long time for both of them to get to that point. Even Saraya, but again, you thought that their careers were over, you know? I mean, I think it's just like progression in science and medicine that has allowed them to be able to get to a point where they were able to come back. Because there's plenty of people who got shelved far earlier than they needed to be because of neck injuries. So I don't know. It's gonna be it'll be fun. Final Boss says Big E, Rey Mysterio, and Penta versus Kofi, Xavier, and Dom at Mania. That would be.
Dom's looking to break the streak at this year's Mania. He's looking for his first win.
I know. It's kind of funny. Like, he does deserve a win. I feel like he deserves to be a champion. Make him Intercontinental Champion. Put him in the Intercontinental title match at Mania. Make him Intercontinental Champion.
Imagine Dominic Mysterio wins the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania.
Dude, how good would that be? I would be obsessed.
I'd cheer.
So would I.
I'd clap.
In my dirty Dom shirt. Heck yeah.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Then we move on to the main event, which was Seth Rollins versus my guy Fergie Ferg in the final qualifying match for the men's elimination chamber. And this is another example of, I don't care how many times these guys have faced each other in the past, I want to see it again. I don't think there should not be a single person on planet Earth that would say I don't want to see Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor ever again. Because if you do, then what are we talking about? Do you like professional wrestling? Because I would question maybe you don't. Because every single
I'd question too.
yeah, because they are so good. But it did remind me, they always have to say such sad things about Finn being like, oh, he won the title 9 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Thanks for reminding everybody, like of.
Well, Kevin Owens hasn't been champion in 7 years. So.
I know. Well, 9 is more than 7. So.
It is.
Fergie still beats him.
Yeah, he does.
But anyway, this was another banger that you could add. And I don't know. I think these two bring out the best in each other every time, because Seth Rollins looked like he was 10 years younger. You could argue that looked like prime, blonde streak.
He's pulling out some crazy shit.
It also looked like, 2014 Finn Balor, because people need to put more respect on Finn Balor's name. Okay.
They do.
Because that man is so good. And he does not get the respect that he deserves, because obviously he is not booked as if he is like a top talent. But I tweeted last night, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor are two of the best professional wrestlers in the world right now. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't, because they're just so good. And I want to see it all the time. And I wish that Finn Balor had been treated better. Somebody, an aggregator account, reminded us all that basically since he had to lose to stupid Cope at WrestleMania, that his career has gone downhill.
I saw you friggin' respond to this. Maybe I'll get on my burner and have some thoughts about it.
You're already blocked though, so you can't respond to me. But
you blocked the account? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would too. But yeah. That's funny.
But that is very true. So anyway, Seth is the last guy in the Elimination Chamber. They were definitely trying to go with the most star-studded that they possibly could, except I would say Damian Priest, but that, that's an argument for another day. But that makes the men's Elimination Chamber match all the more unpredictable. That's why I'm thinking that it's going to be the main event. I feel like it kind of has to.
No, it has to be, because save the best for last. Save the best question for last, Sarah.
Okay.
Does Seth winning mean that Roman appears at Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
Real? Okay.
I think. Well, first of all, I think he has to, right? Because it's what, a week and a half away, less 2 weeks. Yeah, a week from Saturday. Roman is not going to miss WrestleMania. Roman needs to do something to set up a Mania match. And to me, at this point, the only thing that makes any sense is him versus Seth Rollins. And that is because of what we saw at the Royal Rumble, right? But then we can also go back to WrestleMania 40 and what happened at WrestleMania 40. So there's like that long-term storytelling. I mean, obviously their history goes back further than that. But if we're just talking about the most recent history, then there's that. And I think, it could also depend on what happens with Punk. I mean, for me, Punk is the favorite to win. I just feel like we're getting Punk versus Cena. I'm sorry, Cody at Mania. I think Cena's going to be doing something else. I don't know. Maybe something weird happens and it's a triple threat. I don't know. But it's like, let's say Cena wins and Punk doesn't, then it feels like Punk is going to go after Roman or something. But then it's like, what does Seth do? And then it's like, is that what they're going to do? They're really going to do that triple threat? Which is so dumb to me, because it's a triple threat for nothing. Triple threats for nothing feels stupid.
No, it's a triple threat for the fans, Sarah. It's a triple threat.
I know, but like, I don't know. I feel like all of them deserve a more impactful match than that. You know what I mean?
To me, it seems that you could do a triple threat, Cody, Cena, Punk, even with the results of the Elimination Chamber.
I just think that you would have to wonder like how they would manage that. Like, how would they work in the third person? You know what I mean? That's the problem that I think that they would run into, is like, how would they make it make sense to make it a triple threat? Unless Punk is somehow like, I need to get my favor from you, Paul. You need to go threaten, Adam Pearce and make sure that I'm in the title match or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But again, that's like wrestling brain manipulation just to get it to work, I don't know. because that's the thing is like there are so many stars in the Elimination Chamber, and it's hard to say like if the match goes this way, this is what it could do, but then what does this person do? So that's what makes it tricky, and it feels like there will inevitably be at least one triple threat that comes out of this, because otherwise, where did the others go? Because it's like if they do Roman, Seth, Punk, Cody, what does Cena do? But if they do Cena, Cody, let's say Roman, Seth, what does Punk do? If they do Punk, Roman, whoever, and Cody, what does Seth do? You know, it's like, so there's always going to be like one person on the outside that doesn't really make a lot of sense to keep them on the outside. And that's where it's like, okay, you're probably going to force a triple threat in here because of that. Plus there's Drew, you know, Drew McIntyre. What's he gonna do?
What is Drew gonna do it?
I don't know. Me. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
You'll be there. We're gonna be in Vegas, so like.
No, I know he's my like alternate VIP if Cena doesn't do one. If Cena doesn't,
I feel like Cena's gonna do one.
He better.
Oh, he might be too big. He might be too big.
No, he's done them before.
No, he might be too big now. Like
no,
he's too big.
Don't put that out into the universe. How dare you? Don't put that out into the universe.
I'm sorry. That's what I do.
All right, let's see. Sarah, random question. Micah says, "Are you tired of seeing Miz on your TV?" I think he needs to retire. I mean, I'm not tired of it. I just don't really care. You know, I mean, good for him. He's been around for 20 years. So
the Miz still serves a purpose in the WWE right now, and it's not. I don't get annoyed when the Miz is on my television because he's so good at what he does. It is when he's in bigger matches, like for a championship right now, like that would piss me off. But he's being booked well, he's being utilized correctly, and I actually was a fan of the match that he and LA Knight had, and the back and forth they had too.
Yeah,
like that's Miz's role now. And
yeah, I just don't want to see too much of that because we already did that, you know, with LA Knight. Like he can go do it with somebody else.
But it was good that he finally had an interaction on the SmackDown brand that wasn't just the GM or finding people to align himself with. You know, like we got away from that. We moved on, and I was fan of that.
I agree with Final Boss that Finn probably should have beaten Seth last year. That was the time to do it. That's why I don't think Finn will ever be a champion again. Final Boss also says Punk wins the Chamber, faces Cody, Seth faces Roman, Cena starts a feud with Logan Paul.
That's what because a lot of people are saying that Logan Paul has to cost somebody the Chamber match.
And I mean, it's whatever, but it's also like, I don't know. I just get annoyed with Logan just getting handed like every fucking top guy. Like there are people busting their ass in the back for years wishing they could face John Cena. And then it's like, oh, here you go, Logan. Like, don't worry about it. You don't even have to show up to work. You know, I don't know.
He's that good.
Whatever. Final Boss also said he wouldn't mind seeing Drew win and facing Cody, but that's not going to happen. I know that would be a banger. How dare you, Trainer Red?
I knew you were going to say that and be upset.
How dare you?
I know you're going to be. How dare you?
What are we talking about here?
Right to Censor deserves credit. They were so good. And the fact that I didn't realize this till listening to interviews later, but it was a rib on the network.
Well, but remember we argued that they were like the perfect group for that time. They just didn't do anything with them. Like that was such a great opportunity for them to actually make them a big deal given what they were showing on Raw and SmackDown every week, and they just did nothing with them.
There was so much more you could have done with them, and the people that were in it, like Steven Richards, hate him or love him, the man is good at what he does. So.
I have not gotten any, and I don't think Pat has either.
I don't get any action figures anymore. I'm on the belt side and t-shirt side.
I kind of want to get the invisible John Cena ones, but
that makes sense. I am more on the t-shirt side. I need a new hat. Because we have this one, Mania, but I need another logoed hat. Either a WrestleMania one or just another WWE one. Like, to be honest, I would wear a Sunday Night Heat or a Velocity hat if it looked good.
Well, this is the Wolf Pack.
Wolf Pack is back, causing mass destruction.
Yeah.
Just need the
It
bad
doesn't
Wolf
really look
Pack.
good on me though, so I don't like that. Like I like
It's very
hats,
flat.
but that
It's
hat.
very
Well,
flat.
it wasn't on my head because of my.
Your
of my.
bun.
Yeah, so it's like hingies. And it also just doesn't look good with the glasses. I need to go to the eye doctor so I can get some contacts.
Get some contacts for Vegas.
Well, I have my work trip before that, so
Not
yeah.
true.
But anyway, yeah, that was Raw.
That was Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did. We'll be back on Thursday for the Super Show, giving our thoughts and opinions on the current product, not just WWE, but everywhere. And we have a special announcement that we'll announce on Thursday that just happened today. That's in the works for the channel. So be on the lookout for that. That's why you got to follow us on social media. All right. Links are in the descriptions below. And follow us on TikTok. Our TikTok. Yes. No Nights Off show, Sarah.
Spread some positivity for me because I get so much hate on TikTok.
There's so much it's so much hate. We need more positivity in the world.
Yes.
I'm gonna close out the show with some NXT. Sarah Moose has appeared.
Oh my God.
Moose confronted Obafemi.
Have we seen if Ricky Starks is still Ricky Starks?
Not yet. Currently, Fatal Attraction is attacking Stephanie Vacour and Julia.
Isn't it Fatal Influence?
Tomato potato. Okay. And now Jordan Grace is here kicking fucking ass.
Okay. Carmen Petrovic also just won.
Oh, she did win. Okay. I was so confused.
She's a queen also.
She is a queen. I'm obsessed with her manager, the Adonis.
Yeah.
Ashanti the Adonis. Adonisly. Oh, she's incredible. Holy shit. All right. Well, she's talking. I should listen, and you should too. So thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you on Thursday. Yes.